We're going to study piecewise functions this week. Piecewise functions, the definition for them is a function defined by two or more functions over different intervals. They also have a nickname called Frankenstein functions because they're made up of many parts. Let's take a look at some of these. Okay. And let's take a look at this top one here. We have a part of a parabola. We even have a dot, and then we have part of a line. Over here we have some lines, and again, remember your closed circles mean it's included. Your open circles mean they're excluded. Here we have a line coming up and then part of a parabola, and again it stops and then it starts with a horizontal line. Your functions, y equals, remember, is the same as f of x. So y is equal to f of x. And notice that we can have two functions a minimum or more than two functions. Notice these is your domain. This is telling you what the interval, what your x is over that interval. Another thing to be very careful about is where you're greater than or less than. Inequalities are the ones that have the equals and then the ones that are just arrows. So these are things you need to pay attention to. Okay, so here we have two lines. One is a parabola, one is a line, and our division is along x at 0. See that? Okay. So we can evaluate these piecewise functions and we can also graph them. We'll be going over graphing them in another lesson. Okay. Evaluating piecewise functions is just like evaluating functions that you are already familiar with. So when they say, let's calculate f of 2, remember the 2 is the x. And so we're going to look here where the domain is, and we're going to look where the 2 would go to. Okay? So you're being asked to find y when x equals 2, and since 2 is greater than or equal to 0, you'll only substitute it into the second function. Okay? So we're going to put a 2 in there, and we will get 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. Okay, now we're going to take a look at f of negative 2. And again, remember that that negative 2 is an x. So when we look at our functions, we can see that we're going to find y, because remember, f of x means that we're looking for our y, where x is equal to negative 2. Okay? So we're going to plug in the negative 2 where the x squared is. And so negative 2 squared gives us 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5. Now it's going to be your turn. You're going to work some out here. So they give us two functions. These are two different lines. Okay, we're going to evaluate the first one where f of negative 2 is equal to, so remember the x is negative 2, and what's going to be our y. Now we're going to look at when our x is 5, what will be our y? Which function will you use? Now we're going to look at 0. If x is equal to 0, which function will you use? And last, we're going to look at f of 1, x is equal to 1, and then we'll solve for the problem. Okay, we're going to try one more. This time it's 3 functions, and they're going to want us to see when our x is negative 2, then which one are we going to pick? Okay, be very careful to look at which one is equal to the negative 2. Okay. Now we have where our x is 3, which function will we use, and what will our value be? Then we have where our x is negative 4, which function will you use, and what will your value be? Last, we have x equal to 1, and which part of the function will we use, and what will our value be. Thank you for watching and participating.